Hi, I'm Mark McDonald, world-renowned nutrition and fitness expert and New York Times best-selling author. I've spent my career launching global movements and helping empower millions of people to live with food freedom. This is what the NIL House Nutrition is all about, your epicenter for all things nutrition.
Hello, welcome to the show, to the NIL Nutrition, your epicenter for all things nutrition. Now look, is this real behind me? Am I in the outdoors? Yes, I am. It's been an adventure. You know, we made this show to really empower you in whatever environment you're in, whether you're at home, when you're at work, when you're on the go, when you're traveling the world, to actually live with food freedom and live your greatest health. We're talking about back to school, but of course, I got to bring my co-host who has been crushing it as I've been dealing with tech difficulties as we've been trying to set this up. Carrie Lapoli.
I get to be in the kitchen today while you're outdoors, and I'm excited about what we're going to talk about. It's back to school. And, you know, yeah. I have a college student who just started her college career, and I just think about all these kids that are going back to school leading up to kind of that time that they're on their own. And our goal is to raise independent adults, and we're going to talk all about that today.
With Hope every day being 8 and all of her friends are back to school. And I remember back in my day going back to school, you know, I'm having Cheez-Its, I'm having a bagel in high school. Like, you know, you're not educated. And that's why we did this show. And I want to give a special shout out just because as you watch NIL Nutrition, as you experience this with us every single day, our commitment to you is to actually not to just be in a studio all the time. It's to take real concepts that empower you, body, mind, lifestyle to live your greatest health, because that's what people are looking for. I love the story of Georgia Stockton because Georgia is in her master's program now for nutrition, and she's had a road. Let's check out this Instagram video before you meet Georgia in person. Are we dancing? I feel like we're dancing. Like, come on, Carrie, give me a little tune on that because I was grooving.
So much. You know, Mark, one of the things that we talk about is how detrimental social media can be. But let me tell you, when I was in college, all I had were the magazines and the Special K commercials of pinching an inch and all of that. At least there are people out there like Georgia who we're going to meet right now who are counteracting that message. And I love it. I mean, imagine if I was in my 20s and I had heard that, I would have just had a very different journey.
Georgia Stockton, welcome to the show. And Carrie, I got to tell you, I met Georgia in person, and she is just power. And I know, Carrie, some of her challenges you've kind of gone through as well. So this is your specialty. So you run that interview. But Georgia, welcome to the show. I'm still dancing from the Instagram video.
I know. Georgia, welcome to the show. What you are saying is so important. And I know from experience how hard it is to be on a journey where you really struggle with your relationship with food in your body. But gosh, at 22 years old, you're crushing it and sharing a message that I wish I had heard at 22. So tell us a little bit about your journey and why this is so important to you.
One, thank you so much for coming on. And Mr. Mark, your kind words. So thankful just to be on and get to talk with y'all today. So how I kind of got started on this journey was I come from a very sports-minded family. My mom played college basketball. My dad played college football. You know, both me and my brother played college sports, like just a very sports-minded family. So it kind of started in high school of that desire to, like, when I walked in a room, I wanted people to know, like, hey, that chick's an athlete. Just like that was kind of in my brain how I was thinking. And so I kind of started off in a good way, no bad intentions, just wanted to be healthy, wanted to look like a fit athlete, if that makes sense. And at that point, I was not very educated in nutrition at all. And so that's why I think that learning from people like you, Miss Carrie, and you, Mr. Mark, is so important, because there's so much false information out in our world today. And that's why social media is a double-edged sword. You go on social media and anyone can have a platform, anyone can say what they want to say. Well, that leads to a lot of false information out there about nutrition. And so when I was in high school and I wanted to look like that fit, athletic girl, I took a lot of false information in from social media, from just different things. And in an attempt to be healthy, I was drastically under fueling my body. Because, when we turn to social media, we learn, exercise more, eat less, basically, which is not the gist. There's so much more to it than that. And so I had to learn the hard way of that desire to be healthy kind of just kept kind of spiraling a little bit, I guess is the best way to put it, and got to a very unhealthy point.
I think it's so much of what she talks about is around why, right? Like she wanted to look a certain way. And I think these are the things that we really have to have these conversations with our kids about, whether it's Hope, Mark, at 8 years old, or our kids as they're going into high school. These conversations have to happen before they're going off on their own.
Mm-hmm. Yes, and Carrie, I just got to say, Georgia is in Georgia, and that's why she's calling you Miss Carrie and Mr. Mark. This is pure Southern hospitality here.
I love it.
I feel my age at 51, and I know Carrie's a little younger, spring chicken, at 46.
George, I'm only 48, so I'm a whole lot younger.
Oh, 48, I gave you 2 years younger. Come on.
Mark, I am so excited to dig into George's brain a little bit more because I know she's found a passion, like you and I have, around helping people, especially younger girls and college kids, to be able to understand that all the stuff that they've been hearing about is actually so false and it's going to rob them of their happiness. And after the break, we're going to meet a freshman college student who is a Lapoli, my own daughter, who's a freshman in college right now, who I know can learn a ton from Georgia, and also is just approaching freshman year probably different because I've been a loud voice in her life. So I can't wait to talk to her and you, Georgia, when we get back from break.
Now, we're talking about back to school on NIL's nutrition, and it is your epicenter for all things nutrition. And Georgia is studying she's in the process of getting her master's in nutrition. She called me Mr. Mark and Miss Carrie, so we feel a little bit old, but it's okay. But Georgia, you're a fellow author. What I love is you're a book writer. And what we love with this show that we pay it forward, and that's exactly what you're doing. You wrote an ebook to empower other people like you, women, men, boys and girls, so that they don't have to suffer the way that I know I suffered, Carrie suffered, and you suffered. So tell us the name of your book, where you can get it, and give us the 3 takeaways for everyone watching right now so they can start winning with their nutrition Georgia style.
All right. So the name of the book, it's a long title. We'll go part 1 is Guide to a Balanced Life. Part 2, in smaller fonting, Heal Your Relationship with Food and Exercise. And so basically the gist of this book is, our world today, they want to throw these big fad diets at you that are short term and leave people feeling so confused, don't know how to sustain it, and just leave people feeling confused and just not how you want to feel. So I provide the solution of, rather than doing this fad short-term diet, you want to create a healthy, balance is the key word there, sustainable lifestyle. It's just how you live. It's not a diet. It is a lifestyle of how you live that's healthy and, lets you live the best life you can in the long term. So we're healing our relationship with food. We're working on those intuitive eating skills, getting in tune with our body, focusing on, I really, really talk about how protein is huge. And like when you're going to build a meal, hey, we're going to look for protein. We're going to look for some color on that plate. some fruits, some veggies. We're learning that carbs are not the enemy, and that all three macronutrients fit. I really also kind of teach a little bit about how carbs are not the enemy, but hey, let's dress our carbs up. Let's not eat them naked is the way I describe it. To control our blood sugar, let's, add some protein or fat in when we eat those carbs so our blood sugar doesn't spike like crazy.
Oh my gosh, Georgia, you speak our language. I love it so much. What are you seeing college kids doing that isn't you had this need to write this book because what are you seeing that college kids are actually doing in college?
Yeah, so college is stressful, especially like freshmen, just trying to find the groove. And I find many people, they let themselves get way too far past. They get really, really busy. And they might miss a meal, they might miss breakfast, they might miss whatever. They get really too far past this point of hunger. And then, nutrition and making good, like healthy choices just kind of goes out the window because your body just needs some fuel. And so it's like, hey, I'll just take the, donut, the Pop-Tart, and the vending machine. And, then it's like, well, now I'm really past that point of hunger. So, hey, then I need a Snickers bar too. And then, you know what I'm saying? So like being prepared is one thing that I really see college kids struggling with, of like a part of living a good balanced lifestyle. It takes some preparation.
I remember when Carrie Lapoli was first introduced to food freedom. She was sitting at her kitchen counter, not the one she's at right now. She had her daughter Grace and Ellie, and they're saying, Mommy can't eat pizza because she's going to be worried about being fat. And that is the negative relationship that happens. And Carrie, the educator she is, said, what am I doing? I got it, because she is the best educator in the world. And she realized, I got to do something different. And that took this journey. And what's so amazing on this show, my first outdoor adventure live for the Analysis Nutrition, is Grace Lapoli. She's an award-winning actor. She just crushed the Beauty and the Beast. I'm at Disney World right here. So listen, there's nothing better than Belle. And to have Belle on the house, learning from Georgia, and to be here because of Carrie, that moment with your daughter means a lot. So Grace Lapoli, welcome to the show.
Hi,
Grace.
nice to be here. Thank you for having me.
Now, Grace, hold on.
I'm so
You're an
excited.
award-winning singer. Sing us a note, Grace. Sing us a note.
Oh,
Give us a
I don't
note
know.
with Belle. One quick thing.
Oh my gosh. This
Come
is
on, you can do it.
right now.
Let's do
Oh
it.
my goodness. Do your opening. Do the part of your opening.
Okay.
Herbert, let's put a full screen on. Full screen on Grace. Give it to us, Grace. Let's go.
Okay. Little town, it's a quiet village every day like the one before.
I love it.
I mean, I'm going to just
Draw.
This girl actually performed on the Lion King stage back in June on Broadway. So I'm so proud of her. But Grace, I'd love for you to share just a couple of tips of what you're doing to make sure you're living a healthy lifestyle in college as a freshman.
So a lot of things that I do, because of how much my mom has talked to me about it, is I know that it's really important to make sure I have a balance in things. So a lot of times I don't have that much time in the morning to grab breakfast, but luckily I have a dining hall on my way to my class. So I'll stop there, and instead of just getting cereal and that's it, because that's normally all they have, I make sure I have yogurt and cereal. So I'm not like it makes me feel better about it. And it also keeps me kind of full throughout my first couple classes. And then I make sure if I'm hungry, I eat. So, I mean, I get hungry a lot. I was just telling my friends last night, I have never been so hungry all the time before. So I just make sure I'm getting things. And then at the dining hall, I'm eating actually a good amount because I know I'm going to be hungrier when I get back to my room and the dining halls are closed. I also like to carry around, I have my snack cart here, and I have a bunch of protein bars and a bunch of stuff like that. I have protein powder. I have collagen powder. So if I make coffee in the morning, I'll put collagen in it or protein in it because that's what my mom told me to do. So
That's what her mom told her to do, Mark. I'm so excited. We're going to take a break. And then when we come back, we're going to talk a little bit more to Grace about her college experience, but also Grace has ADHD. And so she's not only fighting the whole kind of being a freshman, but also the concept of, focus and attention in school. And that's hard. So we're going to talk about more about that when we get back from our break.
truer life began, and it's so good and real. It must come from within, and I never thought I'd leave behind.
Wow, we have the one and only Belle actually on the show. Now, Grace, I just got to tell you, I know that you award-winning, you crush Broadway, but Beauty and Beast, it just means a lot to me. It's mine and Abby's wedding song. We've been Disney fans since we were kids, and we're at Disney World right now, live from the show, and we went and saw Beauty and the Beast. And let me tell you, the way you perform, it's better than anything we've seen here. And so just thank you for doing that. Of course, Abby's the beauty, I'm the beast, and it's our motto. And Carrie, what's amazing about that is knowing the challenges Grace has had, right? Like, it's incredible to watch her.
This is what I want to say. You see that girl up there on that stage, all focused and worked so hard. But Grace is a kid with ADHD. And as a nutritionist, Mark, you and I know, like, I've worked really hard to help her, heal through food. But it hasn't always been as successful as we want it to be, especially when they're kids. We've tried medications, that kind of stuff. So, Grace, talk to us a little bit about being a college freshman, having ADHD, what it's like, and kind of what the struggles are.
Yeah, I mean, I think it can be hard because I'm on my own now. Obviously, I don't have a structured schedule or anything. And it's kind of like a blessing and a curse at sometimes, because it is nice to be able to just figure stuff out by myself, but it's harder to not be like held accountable because obviously I'm not always focused all the time. And as like I said before, I do try I try my best with food and stuff, but it's not always easy, especially since I don't have great options in the dining halls. And if I'm buying food, it's not always just like best quality. So I don't know. I mean, it's all really confusing. I'm taking a lot of different classes, a lot of different things that I've never done before. So it's hard to adjust to. As of right now, I mean, I'm only a month in, but ADHD is definitely something that is still present, even though I did try medication a while ago, but it's just not, it makes me a lot less me. So I want to try and figure other stuff out, especially in college now. So.
What's inspiring about this, Grace, is, everyone knows the story of Hope. Hope, our 8-year-old, she didn't speak till she was 3 years old, and she was diagnosed on the spectrum. And then everyone said she should go on this medication and that medication. And I said, no, we looked at food first. We looked at movement. We looked at activity. We know what affected her overall. We know when she has red dye, there's things that from a food side, which we're talking about on this back to school, about actually empowering you. But also what happens where you feel like there's that point where you don't want them on medication, but there's something neurologically, they're not in neurological homeostasis. What we teach is physiological homeostasis. And then that's why when we talk so much about this, we think about the Super Patch Company. And Carrie, I know we love these two patches from here. When I think about flow, pay attention like never before, and focus, study like never before, so many times it's about bringing in back from the point of Braille for the brain. When you need a reset in your body, medication-free. So it's not that these are your end-all, be-all, but when you're doing everything right, when you're actually understanding your food, your movement, your hydration, you're sleeping well, your stress is there, but something's not working, that's why the flow mattered, and that's why when we think about focus matters so much. So Carrie, I know you're wearing these too. We're wearing them as well. Give us your insight on it.
Okay, so I was a special educator for more than 20 years, and I came across so many kids with ADHD. So I had all the skill set in the world to deal with my own daughter with ADHD, but it was a struggle, and it still is, to be honest with you. And that's why I'm so proud of her as Belle. But when I first learned about the super patch, I thought, what in the world is this? And I assumed that there were ingredients in it. And of course, we're really careful with ingredients. But then I started realizing that you're right. It's this neurological pathways that get interrupted. And it's part of what makes Grace amazing, but also part of what she really struggles with. And medication brought down the amazing parts to a place where she wasn't functioning. She used to say, I just am not me on this medication. And so, Grace, one of the things I'm excited about, because we've learned about Super Patch, because I understand the science behind it, it makes so much sense. It's a patch that literally is sending pathways to your brain that has been proven. I mean, the studies are absolutely incredible how without medication, we can use a patch to be able to tell our brain something different than what it's been understanding. And so, Grace, when I look at focus and I look at flow, these are the two. Focus is the one where for you as a kid with ADHD, I can't wait to send for you to try, because if you put that on, that really should help with the distractibility. And then here's the thing with ADHD. It's not that they don't pay attention, it's that they pay attention to everything. And that's part of the problem. It's like literally the other day I was talking to Grace and she goes, "Oh, chipmunk." She was literally the kind of concept of, "Oh, squirrel." And she lost track of what she was saying. And so flow is really around helping to focus and pay attention to the things that you want to and not get distracted by those other pieces. So, to have options that are not medicine that supplement our food, Mark, is so exciting to me as a special educator.
Grace is doing everything right. She's implementing the strategies to win. But focus helps her that next level. Flow helps pay attention. So study, paying attention. Those combination, and a lot of people put them on together. So, Carrie, before we end with our 1% coaching, anything you wanted to say this, because I know this is dear to your heart, watching your daughter with us right now and seeing Georgia, which we all would have loved to learn from when we were in our 20s.
I mean, it really is. And I love that these young women are impacting people, men, their classmates, all of that. And I think it's really important as parents for all of us to realize, okay, my daughter was not in this place when she was 6 years old. We were going down a path that she would not have been where she is right now. The loudest voice matters. Your voice has to be the loudest one around honoring their bodies, that it's not about the weight and the scale of what we look like, but it is about who we are and what we can do. And both of these young women here are going above and beyond. And I know that the messages that they're hearing from their parents are counteracting the social messages. So I'm super excited about everything that is in store for them.
So your 1% coaching is going to be simple. Get educated. Start 1%. Maybe it's learning a new protein. Maybe it's going to read a paragraph or a chapter in George's book. Maybe it's about looking at a carb that you want to add in because carbs are cool. Start somewhere and increase your nutrition education by 1%. Maybe it's wearing a patch. I'll tell you the flow, paying attention like never before, or when we think about the focus, studying like never before, perfect for back to school. This is the NIL's Nutrition. It's all about getting 1% better every single day, and the adventure is right around the corner. Make sure you keep living your greatest health. We'll see you the next show.